Yo, peace was good. Welcome to another song on my CD collection. This is part 68. I bought some CDs. This was like over the past month. It was like 2 or 3 weeks ago when I bought the CDs, and I got these, and I have these as well. You guys know most of the time I would like do all the CDs at one shot, but because of my time limit, I can't really do that like I usually do. So what I'm gonna do is like I'm just gonna split them up, and that's how I'm gonna end up doing the reviews too. So like if it comes up to like 13 minutes, whatever, I'm gonna cut it short and then I'll record the rest in the second half of the video. That's what I'm gonna have to end up doing until I get my time limit back. So it's a pain in the ass, but that's the best thing I could do. Alright, so without further ado, I'll show you guys some of the CDs I got. First CD I'm gonna show you guys is Ice Cube's fifth album, War and Peace, the War Disc. This is part 1. This came out in 1998. In my opinion, this is when Ice Cube was kind of like, wasn't all that his music wasn't as good as it used to be. You know what I mean? Like, I guess it's because I'm just spoiled of his first 4 albums and the West Side Connection, which I do have, the Bow Down album. I'll have to do a review on that. I did a review on his first 4 albums. I have to do a review on the Kill at Will, which I did pick up a couple months ago, but I'll do that eventually. But yeah, this came out, like I said, 4 years after Lethal Injection, 2 years after the Bow Down album by West Side Connection. By this time he was like more of a Hollywood figure now. Like he's gone Hollywood. I hate to say it like that, but it's the truth. The 2 singles off the album are Pushing Weight featuring Mr. Short Cop, and Fuck Dying featuring Korn. I remember first hearing this album back in the day. I didn't really care for it too much. I have blasted this album in the past, like in my past videos, but I'm gonna re-listen to it again, with a fresh, mind, whatever, and give you guys my thoughts eventually. I'll definitely will have to do a review on this album someday. I don't know when, but eventually I will. But this is Ice Cube, his 5th album, War and Peace. This is the War Disc, Disc 1. This was released in 1998. Then we got Dead Can't Dance. It's kind of like a post-punk, dark wave band from Melbourne, Australia. This was the self-titled album, is their debut album. This came out in 1994. Very good stuff. If you guys like The Cure, then I would highly recommend checking this album out. Unfortunately, it depends on what kind of music you listen to. This was the only album that they will put out in this style, because after this album they kind of switched their whole steez. Like they started doing more like classical music and shit like that, like chamber music, like music you would hear in like medieval time kind of movies, but around the 80s and early 90s and shit like that. That's the kind of music that they perform, like you hear in those kind of like TV movies and shit like that takes place in the dark ages back in the late 80s, early 90s. So but yeah, but I actually like that kind of music too. But yeah, very, very, very fucking good. I highly recommend it. If you can find it, definitely pick it up. I could imagine this being out of print. So but yeah, this is Dead Can't Dance, a self-titled album released in 1984. Then we got Welcome to 6 Blocks, 96 Buildings, the QB Mixtape. This was released in 2006. It's a compilation album of all the artists from QB. And we got people like Marley Marl, Mobb Deep, CNN, even though Kapone is from Queensbridge and Noriega's from Left Rack. Nature, Prodigy, Tragic Gaddafi, Poet, Big Noid, Nate Sean, Cormega, shout out to Cormega, love that dude. Lakey the Kid, Mr. Cheek, Balls and Hooks. Mentioned Prodigy before, Infamous Mob, Imam Thug, Will Tariq, Twin Gambino, Killer Shah, rest in peace to him, Bravehearts. And yes, I know Lord Tariq is not from Queensbridge, he's from Soundview Projects in the Bronx, but he's on here, so that's why I mentioned him. Bravehearts, Nas, Screwball, Tragic Gaddafi, and those are the people on the album. Very good shit right here. This is like exclusive songs that they did for this mixtape, so very dope. I highly recommend it if you can find it. I got it for like $3.99 at FYE. So, right. Then we got Wu-Tang Records presents Wu-Chronicles. This is released in 1999. This is pretty much like a compilation album. I want to say like a greatest hits, but I guess at the time, you know, if you weren't really familiar with some of the Wu affiliates, some of the songs, like some of the main Wu members were on, like, you know, their albums, on their projects, then it would be on this album like that. You know, songs like you know, Black Trump, with Coco Brothers and Raekwon, the Hip Hop Junkies, like the collaborations that they did in the past and shit like that. Killer Army and all that stuff. Shaheen with Young Gods, that was off his second album. That's actually pretty good. Right Back at You, from Mobb Deep, from the Infamous album. Whatever Happened with AZ and the RZA. That was off the what's that album? Pieces of a Black Man. The second album, very dope, slept on album. The End, 96 Recreation, the demo. But yeah, very good stuff right here. Most of these songs I've heard already, but it's good to have in the collection. Like a lot of these songs I have are from, you know, from albums that I already have, but it's good to have in the collection. I kind of like Part 2 better, which I do have. That one came out in 2001, and I know it's long out of print, but it's definitely worth having. If you a Wu fan like myself, then this is highly recommended. Let me see how much time I got left. Yeah, I still got some time. And in my opinion, out of the whole batch, I think this is the creme de la creme, in my opinion. I know some of you guys might be like, yo, what the fuck, man? Like, you switching up. Nah, I just have, you know, eclectic taste when it comes to certain shit. But it's the Down South Hustlers and the Bouncin, Swingin, the Value Pack compilation. This came out in 1995. Oh shit is moving. Shit. Sorry about that. Yeah, this came out in 1995. Long out of print, hard to come by. This usually goes for a lot of money online, and I found this at FYE, and not by my house. You know, I drove up. You know, sometimes you gotta drive like an hour away just to get certain shit, and that's what I usually do, and that's what I encourage people to do. Like, don't just stick to, like, you know, your particular store, like the store you usually go to. Like, drive around. You know, go to pawn shops. Always tell people about that. But anyways, I'm getting off topic. But this was $34.99 used, but then I have my FYE backstage pass. I gave it to them. They dropped it down to like $31.99, so it came out to like 32 and change. But yeah, I'm glad to own this joint right here. Very, very dope shit. And I know you guys probably thinking, oh, No Limit. You know, because when people think of No Limit, people always think of late 90s Master P, like making some, nah, this is not that bullshit. This is, you know, when it was like more G-Funk, more West Coast shit, you know what I mean? They had that more West Coast feel to their music. And that's the Master P I like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, 99 Ways to Die, the Ghetto's Trying to Kill Me, which I'm trying to get my hands on, but that goes for a lot of money online. Mr. Ice Cream Man and all that shit. So, very good shit right here. If you like old West Coast hip-hop, G-Funk, New Orleans hip-hop, then this is definitely recommended. But this is like more in the West Coast kind of vein. So, but yeah, the Down South Hustlers and Bouncin and Swingin compilation, released in '95. You can find it. Highly recommend picking it up. Then we got Khayree brings you the Blackalation compilation album. Khayree, this is a producer album. I remember seeing this back in the day. I didn't think anything of it, you know what I mean? I thought it was like an R&B kind of album, you know, because the way it looks, and he definitely looks like an R&B nigga, you know what I mean? But then when you play the album, it's completely different. So that's why I never picked it up, because, you know, I love R&B, but I was never a big R&B head to like pick it up. But then I saw, I was like, let me pick it up. Then I looked in the back and I see some of the, you know, track lists and some of the features, like, you know, Big Psych of Doug Life, Young Dre, Mac Dre, rest in peace to him. JT the Bigger Figure, Ray Love, Mussolini of Thug Life, you know, Mac Dre I mentioned before, you know, people like that. So very good stuff right here. It's a good album. I fucks with it. I got this at FYE. I think I got it for the clearance section. So yeah, highly recommended. Alright, released in 1997. Then we got Mo Thugs with Ghetto. Cowboy is a single of their second album, Chapter 2 Family Reunion, released in 1998. When I picked this up, I thought this was an album, you know what I mean? I didn't think this was a CD single, but you know, I should have looked at it, I should have checked it out, you know what I mean? But this was okay. You know, I'm not the biggest Mo Thug fan. Like, the thing with me and Mo Thugs is like, and even Mo Thugs is like, it seemed like right after like 1997, that music kind of went downhill. Just wasn't as good as that earlier stuff, but that's just my opinion. You know, like, you know, because I have Bone Thugs, their EP, The People on the Come Up, the East Eternal 1999 joint I don't have Art of War, I need to get that, but and I need to get their Faces of Death album when they went by Bone Enterprises. I need to get my hands on that joint too. But this was okay. I could have done without it, but it's alright. Released in 1998. And the last CD off the album is I'm so glad I get this shit right here. So glad I own it, and I've been looking for it for a while, so finally got my hands on it. And it's Digable Planets with the second and final album they did release together, titled Blowout, released in 1994. Very, very good album. This time when you pop it in, it definitely has that summertime in Brooklyn type of feel to it, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you put away, you know, just like niggas just like, you know, chilling the block, you know, chilling the stoop, just watching people walking down the block and shit like that, you know, cats is opening the fire hydrants and shit like a hot summer day and things like that, you know. And then this kind of brings me back to those times back when I used to live in New York. The singles off the album are Dial 7 and Knife Wonder. Those are the singles of the album. Very dope album, highly recommended. It wasn't as successful as their first album, Reaching, which most people know them for, the song Cool Like That. But this is actually pretty good too. I need to get their compilation album they dropped in 05 called, I think it was called Beyond the Spectrum, the Creamy Chronicles, some shit like that. It's pretty much B-sides and, you know, unreleased songs from both albums, both this album and the Reaching album. So I definitely need to get my hands on that. And it's relatively cheap online, so definitely need to get my hands on that. But Digable Planets with Blowout Combs, released in 1994. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Stay tuned for more. Peace.